Hello, everybody. Welcome to Draft League Friday night. This is the place to be. I am Zazakel, joined here by Sizzle, my brilliant caster. How you doing today, bud?
I'm great. It is my first time casting, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm ready to go. We have a lot of or a big fun game tonight with playoff implications as well.
Exactly. Welcome to Risen Esports. We're happy to have you here. Um, you said it. It is now we've cruxed over the midpoint of the season. Now we're at the stage where every single game matters. Both these teams are vying for position in playoffs, and we just have to see like how they especially on a new patch. Like this is going to be a very, very exciting week of games all throughout Rizit, and we are excited that we're gonna kick it off here. So um first of all, before we get into the actual like crux of the two teams here, new patch 1320 is live. uh, I still haven't seen like a lot of like really meta champions that I've really been looking forward to seeing. Like I have not seen any Briar in competitive play yet, and as a jungle main I am a little saddened by that. She's such a fun champion to watch. I'm looking for maybe a Jinx or something on this patch. So like what is your 2 cents on the patch so far? Like who are you looking for in who is a priority pick for you in these drafts right now?
Well, I mean, as a jungler and an Amumu main, it's always Amumu. I think he's the most slept on champion in the game. That
Jungle
said,
mains galore, jungle mains galore. Continue.
I do think the jungle nerfs are not as bad as everyone was expecting. Yes, the experience in gold is a little bit different, but like the camps don't feel that much harder to kill. The really big difference is I feel like my teammates don't steal my camps as often because it's harder for them to kill. So really,
Mine still
I
do.
think
Mine
you're
still
still,
do it. It's
you know,
annoying.
it's a struggle, but I think we'll see a lot more farming junglers like that. Now, obviously, ganking is still strong, but I think where it was, you could play champions like Jarvan and Hecarim who can gank constantly. Now you're going to find a nice balance of champions like that who will gank and try to impact the game, but you're also going to find those champions like the Graves or maybe even a Shyvana who can farm really well and then become that monster at 2 items, level 11, just take over a game.
Yeah, absolutely. My one of my new favorite champions this patch has actually been Elise. I think farming nerfed a little bit. I've been trying to bust out that spam jungle kind of mentality, and we'll just see how this works out. So we actually have hopped into draft here, so we're just gonna head over there right now as we get started on the match between let me look between everyone's off meta drafts and Double B's All Stars. So initial impressions, we already see some of these a lot of these popular jungle picks taken off. Amumu and Maokai, as well as the Jarvan, completely out. We'll not see these spam gank jugglers early on, as well as Azir and Zeri. So original, what's your take on these two teams right now as we head into this draft?
Well, so right now EOD is the one with more on the line here. So EOD with a win cinches playoffs. They're going to be in. D-Boss, if they get a win here, I think it makes a really muddy tiebreaker scenario. So both of them want to win. One to just get their, get the pressure off of them, get right into the playoffs, and be ready for it. The other to have a chance to make it. And I think what we're seeing in the bans here makes a lot of sense. We're banning the scalers like the Zeri and the Azir. It's never bad if you're looking for a win to pick a late game comp, try to scale and just be like, all right, we're gonna wait till level 16, fourth dragon. That's when we'll make our play. Then obviously the ganking CC heavy junglers, the Maokai, the Amumu, it makes a lot of sense to get rid of them. Don't let the enemy jungler impact the lane too early.
I think we had a missed ban there on 3. I'm a little unsure with what happened there. But Zeri taken out on the other side, which means Kaisa and Zaya, the two most popular picks at Worlds right now for AD carries, both picked up. Looks like Double B's All Stars are looking to solidify a very solid bot lane with the Zaya Rakan. On the other side, Lulu being hovered right now, but your first impressions, these two AD carries, very popular in the meta right now. Is it just kind of like a handshake at this point where it's just, yeah, you get one, we get the other?
Yeah, I think it's one of those. Kaisa probably the one that's favored more. I know obviously, Riot likes her being strong for Worlds, has almost as many pentakills as I think Zeri is the only ADC with more pentas than Kaisa in professional play at this point. So it's like, hey, we'll take the really strong ADC, and then Red side that goes, okay, we'll take Zyra Khan. Strong ADC, a great synergy with those two, and that's going to be a really nice safe lane. Zyra can peel for herself, especially with that ult, with the pullback of her feathers, and Rakan can do all kinds of disruption in a fight.
Okay. And honestly, a very exciting juggler to watch. Fiddlestick or Could be mid, I guess. I have seen a lot of Fiddlesticks as flex to mid, but more than likely, this is going to be a Fiddlesticks in the jungle. My only concern is that there isn't a whole lot of frontline right now for the side of EOD, so maybe looking to have a really solid frontline in their top laner. Because as of right now, if Fiddlesticks dives in, he is dying. So we really need to look for some peel there. And it's Vi picked up in response on the other side.
And I mean the top laner for EOD, although this is weird. The guy that they have in champs or yeah in the game is not the same one I have listed. Frog is the guy I had listed. They have another sub, so looks like Supreme X Chris is going to be in. I don't have a scout report for him, unfortunately, but I know that they like to play tanky topsiders with their normal guy. I imagine that wouldn't change too much. Yeah, like you
Actually,
said,
I think it's a double. I think we have two different top laners for both these teams. The Scuttle Defender looks like he's going to be filling in for Yoshu Yoshi. So I think this is going to be two completely new top laners in this for this both these teams actually. So that's a little interesting.
yeah, and it should really make a change in how they play that top side. Normally, if you have that sub player, they're not the primary guy. They don't have as many reps with the first team, so you're not going to focus them as much. So that should mean we see a lot of action mid, a lot of action bot, which I think favors EOD. EOD's mid laner, Margarine, is a beast. I mean, the guy has an all-time rating of an A in the league. He gets 3.88 kills all told, but this season even better, 4.58 KDA per game. So he does a lot of action, does a lot of killing. So we think we should see a lot of pun intended ganking mid, trying to get that scaling up.
All right, and yes, we have received word that double Bs do lose out on two bans, so that is why they will have two of those bans just blank for this match. So looks like it's going to be the Aatrox, the Garen, and the Ziggs taken out. Both teams looking for these solo laners right now. It's going to be Victor picked up here for double Bs. Um, what's your consensus going into the last part of the draft here?
I mean, right now, double B's
What do they
draft.
need? What do they need?
What do they need? So blue side needs a tank. Okay, Kog'Maw is interesting. So that means either Kog or Kaisa would go mid and probably full AP at that point, which on one hand, a lot of range, a lot of damage. On the other, you're really saying top lane is our only front line, and he's having to blind pick. So you could pick a Malphite and Ornn, whatever it is, but then D-Boss is going to get to pick something to counter that. You could pick a Gwen to destroy a Scion, or even the Ornn. So it's really risky. They're basically selling out for the Cog Kaisa to do all the work, and they're going to hope Lulu Fiddlesticks over tank they choose and kind of peel the rest of them off. Yep, the Ornn
Yep,
makes a
there's
lot of
the
sense.
Ornn. It's the safest tank that you could possibly pick. Plenty of range, plenty of long range engage. Like it's the safest tank that you can go. My only concern is he is top lane. I think for these early objectives, it's going to be very hard for EOD to um, center themselves around these early objectives when the Ornn is still laning. Just because Fiddlesticks, he does better when he surprises you. If they're trying to establish and create and start these objectives, it's going to be difficult. So we will see how they play around that, and we get the new sexy looking Jax here as the response to the Ornn. I I honestly thought it was when I first saw it, it was a Master Yi skin. Like
Yep, yep.
when I saw it picked, I thought it was Master Yi, just purple now, and I got very confused. So,
No,
uh,
no, but it is the one Yi skin. It looks identical. But now I really like Double B's draft here. I think their team on paper just is better all around. I don't think they have a losing lane realistically.
mhm.
And I think they have an easier comp to execute as well. I mean, Vi and Rakan and Jax are just going to jump forward onto these squishy targets, and then Victor's are going to throw down plenty of damage on the back end. It's going to be on EOD to kind of peel these carries and keep them safe when there's so many. Like, I mean, Vi is a literal point and click onto one target.
And especially with three squishy targets on the enemy team, Vi does not have any bad, or I guess Ornn would be a bad option, but like any other of the enemy team, like there are three squishy carries that you could signal out and just delete off the map. So I think this is going to be a very, very not easy game, obviously, but simple game for the Vi. You pick out one of these targets, you ult, the rest of your team is there to burst. There's plenty of follow up with the Rakan, with the Jax hopping in, plenty of damage with the Victor Zaya. So I am in agreement with you. Sorry, that I think that this is just a much easier comp to execute for the side of D-Boss.
That's it. And then here's the one thing I do like from EOD's draft though is they picked that Kai'Sa early to kind of force the Zyrakan bot lane, and they picked the Lulu, make it look like, hey, we have our blue bot side really early. I fully expect Kog'Maw to be bot lane. And in that regard, I think it works out well for them because Lulu makes it really hard to kill Kog'Maw, and Lulu in general makes it hard to kill anyone. So when Vi dives, they at least have that Lulu. Hey, she can ult her teammate and then polymorph the Vi, and maybe they can turn get the Vi real quick and then kite back for a fight. I think that's what they're really looking for, is not to win, but rather when the enemy team engages, take a step back, get one kill, and then reset themselves for the fight.
Absolutely, I think it's an easier comp to execute on the side of D-Boss, but you do have a point. EOD, I think it can be it's a very high risk, high reward in my opinion. If your
Yep.
Kog'Maw pops off, who on the enemy team could stop him? Your Fiddlesticks gets a good ult. You have the damage to delete everyone on the enemy team. There isn't like a dedicated tank on the enemy team that just won't that can withstand the melting that Kog'Maw is going to give them. So I think it's a very high risk, but at this stage, and it's very very bold to do it this early in the series. So I'm excited for this game one way or another. If you do have any predictions at this stage, like just your initial impressions, just going off the draft. What is your consensus? Just if you had to make a prediction.
In a vacuum, if you have 10 identical players playing, I think D-Boss wins this game. That said, there's a reason they're 1-3 and EOD is 2-2. They've had a little bit more success this season, so maybe that riskier play is something they're willing to go. And like I said, so EOD, they're in a better spot. They don't. If they lose this, it becomes a tiebreaker. They could, in theory, lose this series and still have a chance at playoffs. So maybe game one, they're like, hey, let's play it a little bit riskier. Let's see, can we beat them with technical, like on a technicality? Can we play the more technical comp that's going to be a little bit harder to do? And if we can beat them that way, that sets up a great set for game two to really push this series and just take that the series as a whole. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and on the flip side, Deep Double B's, they picked a much safer, more like a typical comp that you would see in professional play. To be like, hey, we kind of need this win. Let's stay by the book. Let's do the smart thing here, the um, low risk play, and see if we can just get a win that way. So I think that's really what you're seeing in the draft here is these teams knowing where they stand as this series as a whole impacts their future.
Absolutely. I was not gonna lie. I was really hoping for a new spicy pick like the Jinx. I still haven't seen Briar, even though I still think she's one of the best jugglers of the patch. Even Rammus is insanely good so far. Last I checked, he had like a 56% win rate on this patch in Emerald Plus. So like, I was kind of hoping for a bit of a new juicy pick from one of these teams. But honestly, if you look at spicy draft, I think EOD fulfilled their end. You know, flexing the Kai'Sa to mid. Um, doesn't necessarily have to go full AP now that I think about it, because they already have a ton of AP damage through the Fiddlesticks, through the Ornn. Kog'Maw does mixed, Kai'Sa does mixed. So honestly, I actually think they're a bit lacking on AD damage, if I'm being completely honest. But on the other side, obviously, just playing to scale. They have the Victor, they have the Xayah, they have the Jax. All three of them are late game monsters. So I think you're right. In a vacuum, just the draft is so much easier to execute from the side of D-Boss. And since you are new here, I'm going to tell you my predictions always end up wrong. No matter what happens, I have never landed a single prediction. So I am going to refrain from that for now. We'll just go off of your your predictions as of this moment. Um, just any final notes that you would like to say before we go to a quick break here.
The game is going to be decided by pun intend, 100%. I fully believe it. He has, looking at his stats, he ganks, he likes to gank. That's his big thing. However, he has a rating of D in the early game and a B in the late game. So he does great post 25, 30 minutes. Before
Mhm.
that, he struggles a lot despite liking to gank early. So I think the Fiddlesticks pick here is good. It's a lot more farm centric with smaller but more effective ganks. And I think that's going to be an interesting part of this game. I think that's going to decide it whether or not he's effective with the few ganks he should be putting out.
Yeah, I think Fiddlesticks, just as a champion, when you do gank, you need to be effective at it because you are squishy. And if you are CC'd out of your W, you're about as useful in that gank as a Cannon minion, right? So you
Yep.
really have to, he really has to be smart around this. I think you're 100% right. If he can, get his lanes ahead, and not only that, find the impactful Fiddlesticks ultimates in the late game, I think pun intended will be one of the most important aspects for this team. But before we get into this game, we do just have to wait for the spectator delay, so we're going to run to a quick break here, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back between game one, between EOD and D-Boss. Don't go anywhere. All right. Put in the chat if I'm behind or ahead, and I will adjust as necessary. But I'm ready to hop back into the game whenever you guys are.
Ready to go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Risen Esports Friday night. Game one between EOD and D-Boss. How you feeling over there, Sizzle, for your first game here in Risen?
I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm glad I'm not doing play-by-play, so that's really all that matters. I get to have the nice cushy job of just breaking things down, and you have to do all the hard work, so.
You still have to do. I don't know anything about this game. That's why I play jungle. You need to figure out all of the logistics side of it. But I just have to say what's happening. And I don't want to describe what's happening between Zion and Rakan right now, so we're gonna move on.
Well, they are not quite married, but basically are. So, we're gonna let them have their private moment as we pan away.
Yeah, I hope the camera wasn't on that, but mine was. We will see what happens in the. Oh my goodness. Anyway, the directed camera really is interested in what's happening between those two. But meanwhile, not a lot of level 1 shenanigans right now. Oh, there's new animations for the Jacks that I am. Oh, thanks. I just realized producers gave us a quick look at Zyricon, so thanks for that. But not a lot of level 1 shenanigans right now. I'm not used to the new Jacks and these new animations yet, so that is a little curious to look at. Both junglers starting on blue side right now, so pathing opposite ways. How do you think this will affect the early game from these lanes?
I think it makes the most sense. Obviously, Vi, she's got, it's going to be hard to gank a Coglulu. Jax, though, if he gets ahead, he dominates the side lane, so she wants to path there, get him ahead as these two are just smacking each other. And Fiddlesticks wants that bot lane to get ahead. Getting Ornn fed isn't going to do a whole lot. So you want your bot lane and mid lane to be strong and make sense to path down. So I'm liking the path these two are taking right now.
Yeah, right now Scuttle Defender losing out on the early trades. Not really what you want as Jax, already down to half health. Ornn, or Supremix Chris is a long name. Doing good in these early trades so far, and also down in the bot lane. It looks like the side of EOD and mid lane as well, as we take a quick look over there. All in all, EOD doing really well in these early trades.
I mean, it's smart to take these early trades while they can, because I think as these lanes go, Victor hitting 6 is going to be a lot stronger than the Kai'Sa once he gets that E evolved to be able to just kind of poke her down, clear the waves. And then becomes a roam option for the two of them. I think Victor has a slightly better roam than the Kai'Sa does.
Oh, here we go. Top lane Scuttle Defender looking to get the kill onto Suprem. Supreme X Chris. It's a weird weird syllables there, but no summoners used as the Ornn is just able to walk away. But meanwhile, here in mid lane, Solomon Khan looking to get onto Margarine. Both of them are dropping dangerously low. Looks like there's just a couple autos away. The E from the Victor will miss, but Vi is here as well. Vi will chase a little bit, but it doesn't look like Margarine will be punished after all. Does have to blow the flash in order to get out.
Yeah, that was close. I really thought that Margarine was able to get that kill, but a minion ate that W at the last second, right as he's getting stunned, so unable to finish it. Works out pretty well. Looks like it will be a freeze mid too for Solomon. So
Yeah,
that should.
Yeah, I was about to say 2 summoners used for Margarine. Very, very difficult. The Victor will be able to TP back. Will have a decent advantage here as he is hoping to keep that wave frozen. But we will see Zane now on the top side. We have Pun Intent on the bot side, and we will see how they're able to influence all of these lanes. As right now, obviously, very even early on. Oh, meanwhile, Eversick is going in on ganking, not him, and looks like he will just dash back out. It is Rakan. He can dash in and out pretty easily, so what looks like action is actually not.
I really would have liked to see Vi stay mid, grab that Scuttle Crab, and then just wait mid. You have the lane frozen, you know Kai'Sa has no sums. That's a pretty free gank. Oh, looks like Lulu might be in danger.
This is looking very, very dangerous. Double B going down dangerously low. Does have to flash. Tries to get the root, but just misses. But he will be able to get that first blood onto the enemy AD carry. Now Dreamless has to run away, but he is running to his doom, and Eversick will pick up the second kill there for the side of D-Boss.
No, that was great. It looked like Pogma and Lulu were going to win that fight, but the exhaust and the shielding coming in just enough to keep Xayah alive. And it's a great 2-for-1 there. And Lulu got the kill as well, so a big lead for the bot lane of Double B.
And the first blood did technically go over to the Xayah, so that's 100 extra free gold as well. So all in all, a huge win, I would say, there for the side of D-Boss. But meanwhile, here in mid lane, we have the return of Zane, and Margarine does have that tower to keep himself safe, so is able to walk away from that gank.
It's just one of those, hey, I'm letting you know I'm here. A freedom of navigation exercise, as my dad would say. You're just showing up, letting him know, hey, I could be here anytime. You know, you ought to be respectful. And he actually might loop around again.
Those are the scariest parts of League. Here he comes yet again. Zane does get the stun this time, and Margarine, you're running away from your tower, my friend. And he's able to turn around the 1v2, and will be able to walk away as well. So Zane, your intimidation tactics did not even work, because he will go down.
Can't even blame Zane. I mean, Solomon just kind of a little slow to follow up. That gravity field didn't come out anywhere. It came out right at the end. Like, throw that down a little bit earlier, I think you get the kill. So instead, Margarine turned what looked really bad into a nice little lead for himself.
Absolutely. Like, anytime a gank goes like that, it's such a feels bad moment for the jungler, especially, right? Scuttle Defender also dangerously low, does grab that 6, so no action, but yeah, I mean, Margarine now with a kill advantage in that mid lane is almost a kill down, so the gold will still be relatively even, but still, what was a winning lane for Solomon Khan through that freeze now just turned into an even lane. That's gotta hurt.
Yep, I mean, he does have the, fact that he's got the CS lead, so he can say, hey, at least, it's close enough. And it looks like Fiddlestick's coming bot here.
All right, Pun Intent is looking for the lovers duo, but Eversick with the knockup might be able to save, but the flash! The flash fear might dispel doom here for Eversick, and no, they will be able to run to their tower, so the flash is used by Pun Intent with no payoff. Zane is here to try and negate any further damage.
Yeah, I mean, well done. I mean, that's the safety of Xayah Rakan. It's really hard to get out. Oh, Jax.
But it's the Horde coming through and demolishing Scuttle Defender. A solo kill picked up for Supreme X Chris in the top lane. It's the XC combo that really messes me up there.
Personally, I would have shortened it. I would call him Supreme Chris or something real easy. I wouldn't have gotten too crazy with it. I thought we were gonna have.
Go with Supreme X Chris. I think that's it.
Fiddlesticks is investing a lot of time in this gang. He's been here for at least a full minute at this point.
But he's still here. There's the fear, and the silence comes through as well. Double B still has no flash. Might still be able to get away. The flash forward here from Dreamlet. Oh, that's now two
that's
flashes.
An interesting flash by the Lulu. I don't know what she thought was
Two
gonna happen,
flashes used and no payoff. Margarine now against Zane, but this time Solomon Khan is here to back him up. Margarine is does have to run away, but ults back in, and Zane dropping dangerously low. There's the gravity field and the silence, and Margarine tries again to turn the 1v2, but this time will not be successful, and it's a kill picked up for Zane.
That was really close. Zane, I don't know if he knew exactly what his numbers were. He could survive that if he got a little bit lucky. Either way, great play out there. He does pick up the kill, though. It would have been great for Victor to pick it up, but he will be able to shove this wave. It maybe get a plating if he wants to stick around for it.
Yeah, just again reestablishing that CS lead there in the mid lane, always important. Meanwhile, Skull Defender again dropping dangerously low. Might look to dive the or no, flashes away.
Ooh.
I thought he might try to go for it. Looks like he is still here. The flash forward, but the counter strike is there, and the burn from the Sunfire, not the Sunfire, the Bombies will take him out. Meanwhile, down in bot lane, it's Double B picking up the kill onto Dreamless. Gank beat on him, trying to clear the wave as quickly as he can, but it's a trade of kills on opposite sides of the rift.
I think Scuttle Defender, he was so close. I think he ran out of mana. He wanted that W auto attack reset and didn't quite have the mana for it, I think is what happened there. Which is really unfortunate.
Down in bot lane, Double B will take him out. So a lot of action here early on. 9 kills in the first 9 minutes of the gold lead, sitting comfortably at about 1,500 gold here for the side of D-Boss.
Yeah, I mean, this is and this looks like they're going to get a dragon for this as well. Infernal Drake is the first one. It's really nice. Helps that last, that CS and just the damage, of course, in trades. If Lulu steals this, I would be shocked, but, you know, I've seen crazier things happen.
Okay, no. I was gonna have to, like, really scream if that happened, but no, it will be picked up here by Zane. Yeah, Supremix Chris is doing really well here in this top side. Really already has the 2 solo kills. Relatively even in farm, which for an Ornn, that's about as good. That's about as winning a lane as you can get.
I mean, up 2 kills to none. Oh, there's a fight going on here.
Here in mid lane, and we have the ult coming through from both Zane and Pun Intended. Meanwhile, it's just Marjorie going down first. Pun Intended will get the kill onto Zane in response, so it's just a 1-for-1 in the mid lane. And meanwhile, here in top lane, Supremix Chris will try to run away, and Pun Intended is still going after Solomon. Solomon Khan will drop to the combined efforts of the Kog'Maw and the Fiddlesticks, and will it be a 3rd solo kill? Yes, it will. Supremix Chris putting on the lane kingdom.
And here's the interesting. Sheen was just bought by Scuttle Defender, but he had 2 long swords. I don't know when exactly he bought them, but if he could have had a Sheen before that fight, you gotta ask why he didn't take it. Because I think he wins that with the Sheen versus the 2 long swords. Now he's just 0-3 in that lane. It's looking really rough. This Ornn's gonna be a problem later. He's the only front line they've got, and now he's super ahead.
He will be a beast and a unit to get through, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it is very, very difficult for an Ornn to be the main carry for a team. So we'll be able to, you know, get to those ornaments a lot sooner. We'll be a very hardy front line. But if the damage is still not there, I still think that it is still possible for D-Boss to chew through this Ornn, as provided that their damage dealers continue to get ahead, as we can see already a 300 gold shutdown on Double V down there in the bot lane.
300 gold shutdown and on the Xayah and the Ornn, so plays should be made for both of them, as it looks like Double B will be picking up this 2nd neutral objective of this game in the Rift Herald. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, they're going to want to get that, I would imagine, on the Victor. Just get him absolutely scaled up and ready to go.
Yeah, so both neutral objectives going over to D-Boss, which is definitely not what you want for the side of EOD. You want to at least try to look for a trade of these sorts of objectives, but obviously with their gold lead right now sitting a little over 1,000 gold, and they're all of the gold that they do have on the Ornn right now, it is very difficult for them to play for these neutral objectives this early on.
Now, what I'd like to see, I think, from EOD on this next dragon, just give it. It's only a cloud. It's not the end of the world. It's only the 2nd dragon, and you're a scaling team anyway. I think it makes the most sense to just give it up and get some money for that 3rd dragon, because that's going to need to be an ocean, a chem. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of options, obviously, for it. And I think that's where you're going to see more value, is at those 2 item spikes at that, 3rd dragon, where you can maybe take a team fight.
All right, Zane is sitting on a ward right now. Pun Intended is across the wall. This is the perfect Fiddlesticks moment, and Zane, you have been pulled.
Zane gonna fall. That's his third death of the game. Really, it's the top side that's not here. Jack 0-3, Vi 1-3. I mean, that's where all these deaths keep coming from. And yet, they still have both neutral objectives, which is a testament to their bot lane and their mid lane and keeping that keeping the pressure where they're able to get these objectives despite the constant dying.
It is going to be a little rough here. We can see, but on the bright spot, their carries still are getting ahead. As Supreme X Chris will be able to just walk away. He is a beefy Ornn at this point, so not even the Victor can really put a damper in his spirits at this point.
Yeah, I think if Victor does go Leandries though, he has a pretty good chance.
Alright, meanwhile down here in bot lane, we have Gank Me Not Him fighting with Eversick and Dreamless, forcing to flash away. The ult comes through as well. Eversick is dropping dangerously low, will dash back out. Gank Me Not Him will be able to walk away, and now here comes Pun in 10. Dreamless is needing to flee completely under the tower. Pun in 10 is trying to protect as much as he can, but the Rift Herald will be dropped here. Looks like they will just have to surrender this, and meanwhile in top lane, Scuttle Defender, the Ornhorn comes through, but he will be able to just walk away, and the first tower will be going over to D-Boss down there in the bot lane.
First tower, and they should easily get a second crash, if not the whole tower. It doesn't look like anyone's rushing to stop this. They've got 3 minions and 3 people. Yeah, they want to dive.
My ultimate! There is the revenge. Sure, you can jump scare Fiddlesticks, but you can't win the 1v3. Meanwhile, Solomon Khan is dangerously low, has already used his flash to try and run away, and Margarine will send him to the grave. The teleport comes through. Scuttle Defender is here as well, but the flash comes through for Margarine to keep him alive a little bit longer. Scuttle Defender does not care about the tower. He will walk under and take out the enemy mid laner.
That was close though. Scuttle Defender almost lost his life for that. His flash just a half second late, but works out. And they did get second tower bot, so a lot of gold. Now we see 3k lead here for Double B. Big advantage, and most of that is on that Xayah and on that Victor.
Yeah, but it looks like Supreme X Chris just able to freely wail on this tower. Will hopefully be able to trade at least one of those objectives back and even up the gold a little bit more. But yeah, about 1,500 gold in the lead. It's been like that for a while. Oh no, it's about 2k now. My apologies. So meanwhile here in mid lane, Gank Me Not Him is going to drop yet again. No, the Yule all comes through. We'll save it for a little bit longer, but it's not going to be enough, and it's a double kill picked up for Double B. Double B's All-Stars. Looks like Double B is the one carrying this one here.
Yeah, that was, I don't know why Lulu and Cog are stepping up there. At no point do you win the 2v2 anyway. Oh, Fiddlesticks wants all the smoke.
Fiddlesticks! The jump scares are real in this League of Legends game, as Eversick will barely be able to walk out, but Double B's shutdown will go over to the Scarecrow.
Yeah, I mean, that worked out really well. Fiddlesticks got a bit of gold there. But like I was saying, Kog'Maw Lulu don't beat Zyra Khan at any point if they're even this early. Maybe, 20, 30 minutes. But especially being behind with Xayah with 6 and 1, you don't want to be stepping that far up the lane when Rakan can just run you down and Xayah can do that much damage. He's an item and a half. I mean, Kraken BF is just so much damage against Justin Ginsu's. It's not enough. And they're being very disrespectful by thinking they can walk up into their faces like that, and Double B did a great job of punishing it.
Absolutely. I still, Kog'Maw will still be able to scale. Is going to be a terrifying late game champion, but it's just a matter of will they be able to get there. 2,000 gold down. They are not out of the woods yet, but the longer this lasts, I think the more likely it'll be harder for them to crawl back from the abyss. And we still have the mid laners here. Supreme X Chris is looking for an opportunity, and here comes the Ornhorn. Gets the double knock up. Eversick having the dash away, does manage to get all the way to Double B, and looks like Double B will be trying to barely hold on, and Gank Me Not Him will take his revenge, will cost him his life, but he's running after Eversick, will not catch up to him, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 ADC if you're ADC in the mid lane. Oh, never mind. It might be a little bit more as Zane will flash in and will take out Dreamless. But here is the Ornn. He is a big boy, and Zane, you now no longer have a way out unless you're able to run away. Supreme X Chris, it looks like they are just going to try and 1v2 this, and Ornn dropping into the low, misses the knock-up, and Zane will take out the tank of the enemy team.
That's a nice shot down over to Zane. If he hits that knock-up, I think Supreme Chris gets that kill. But
I think they were standing just out of range here, and I can't even let you talk because it's going to be the Jax is going to be jumped on next, and pun intend, going off his ult cooldown, just picking up kills left and right on the Rift.
here's an interesting thing I just noticed. Kog'Maw hasn't scaled his ult whatsoever. There's not a point in it, which is interesting because the dive that just happened mid, he was able to get one but not two. If he has his ult, I think he gets them without dying to the tower. Interesting.
He also
choice, but
hasn't
not
scaled
for
his E either.
Oh wow, really? Oh my goodness. So they are full sending on just QW being a damage dealer and nothing else. That's interesting. I'm hoping at 11 he puts a point in ult at least. But you know, we'll see what
Never seen
happens.
this before. I've seen Kog'Maw's neglect E, but both E and ult I have never seen that before. So that is a curious strategy for gank me, not him. But meanwhile, it's going to be the 4th straight neutral objectives going over to the side of D-Boss. And just this scaling is starting to get a little bit out of control. Eversick tries to go for the knockup, but will not pick up Dreamless. But the Rift Herald will likely knock down this mid lane turret.
I don't like this Herald use right here. You could take this by just forcing a fight anyway. You have Dragon coming up. Save it for after the Rift, because if they contest it, you probably win the fight and get at least 3 kills, and you can get 2 towers with that Herald rather than just the one you got right there. And it's done so early that you're not even getting full mid pro to walk right to Dragon with.
Yeah,
it just seems like a waste.
I think jumping the gun a little bit here, especially with that dragon spawning in 30 seconds, but you do have to consider at the same time that it is still the mid objective, and hey, they might not be able to contest this anymore as they no longer have a jungler, as Zayn will go down for the 4th time.
Yeah, Zayn just really deep there for no reason, and probably going to cost his team a dragon, which is great for EOD. They really need at least one back try to buy themselves a few more minutes. And it looks like they're going to be able to do just that. So, perfectly set up for them.
If they might be able to stall, they still might be able to stall as the dragon is spawning at the exact same time Zayn is up. If they are able to stall for about 10-15 seconds, it should give Zayn enough time to show up. But they are starting this right on spawn, and here, no, it looks like they are just retreating back to mid lane. They are just going to get this objective, so a really, really good pick and a huge benefit there for the side of EOD.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I think we saw with the Victor going top, yeah, he's got TP, but I think that was just a pretty clear, hey, we're going to give this one dragon. We're already up. You know, we have 4K, 3.5K gold lead. We have 4 towers to their 1. We've already got 2 dragons. We're not super worried about just this one dragon, because they should be able to pressure the Baron here pretty soon anyway. That Jax, he's behind Ornn, yes, but if he keeps Ornn in the side lane, the 4v4 goes the way of Double B.
I'm getting baited by all. I thought Fiddlesticks was in the brush there next to Supreme X Chris, but because on the minimap all the effigies show up as Fiddlesticks, so there's like 4 different Fiddlesticks on the map right now, and it's tough to see which one is the real one. But meanwhile, we have found the real one. Pun intent is going up against Zayn. The Ornhorn comes through. Meanwhile, the ADCs and supports are fighting down at the bottom as well. And it looks like Double B will pop that ult. The Genkin on him will go down. Meanwhile, he does have the flash away from the Kog'Maw passive, but meanwhile here comes the Kai'Sa to try and clean up, but will have to flash out. Scuttle Defender is chasing the flash forward from Eversick and will take out the enemy team. It's a 4-for-1 in favor of D-Boss.
Yeah, that was just an ugly fight. Just so disorganized. I mean, you're engaging on 4 different points of the map, and you're not winning at any of them because you're so far behind. You really got to be smarter. Take these 1 or 2 picks, and then try to take the fight from there. I'm surprised we didn't see an immediate Baron push from D-Boss. It was pretty free. It's sitting right there. Jax can do it decently well. Vi's pretty solid at it, and Victor has a lot of damage. So.
Yeah, so update on Kog'Maw, still no points in his ultimate or his E. Has maxed out 5 levels on both his Q and W, so I have never seen that before. That is a very interesting strategy. We will see if it pays off in the long haul, as his team is now down about 6k gold, still able to recover should the chips fall in the right way, but it is going to be an uphill battle here for the side of EOD.
Yep. I mean, I'm totally fine with not scaling E and even just ignoring the R scaling other than one of them, but it just seems a little lack of value because there's been a couple of times where having an ult...
You're using half your kit at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So definitely curious, but obviously E is not the most useful part of Kog'Maw's kit, I would have figured the R at least a little bit. It does provide a decent amount of range, but
Into this team too. I mean, E is great if you're kiting, but it's really hard to kite point and clicks from Rakan and Vi, and Jax. So I totally get not using it because it's not a lot of value.
okay, it is level 11 now. He did not level up his ult. He leveled up his E.
Interesting. All right.
I guess he just really does not like Kog'Maw ult. He has a problem with it. The flash forward for Putty 10 does have that Fiddlesticks ultimate and will be able to take out Eversick. Double B now under the turret, does have it as a friend, but he will go down, but not without taking Margarine with him. So that's a 2-for-1 in favor of EOD, and that is exactly what you're looking for here.
Yeah, that was a great play. Oh, they're going to bait this Baron, I think. We'll see if anyone falls for it. I really like the
It is
Fiddlesticks.
warded. There's a control ward there for red team, so I don't think the bait will really work here.
Maybe they can collapse on Jax. We'll see. Looks like he'll be able to get away though. I really like the Fiddlesticks ulted over the wall, but everyone dashed over it, so he flashes after them. I think that was great. Got a lot of value there. Was able to continue the fight with the Kai'Sa ult, especially coming over the top. So great double kill, great shutdown as well, and there could be a fight brewing on the top side.
Yeah, it looks like Zane is getting chased by 3 of the enemy team. He does have Scuttle Defender there to help him out, but it is still a 2v3, and they opt to just run away.
And Dragon, 1 minute. That's really, I think this next fight will more or less decide the rest of this game.
This will be a big one. Both these teams are looking to set up the objective. Supreme X Chris is running away from the enemy team. The dash is interrupted. That is going to be huge. The Supreme X Chris now finds himself into huge danger. Doesn't even get the second Ornn horn off. The knockup comes through, and Scuttle Defender will take out the Ornn. The rest of the team is here to try and save him, but it is too little, too late. Pun intended goes into the stasis, but not for long as he is taken out. It's 3 of EOD falling. Gankbeat on him is here to try and salvage this. The Lulu will keep him alive for a little bit longer, but Lulu, that will cost you your life. Scuttle Defender hops the wall, and Gankbeat on him will fall. The ace picked up here for D-Boss.
That looked really good. Obviously, the Ornn getting picked was not it. I think if his team's even 5 seconds closer, that fight goes totally different. Gank Me, not him, was kiting really well at the end of that fight. There just wasn't quite enough heal for him. That Ornn's there to front on if the Phyllis's there so a little bit more CC. I think they could have won that fight. It's so close, but unfortunately it's going to cost him a Baron and likely a Dragon on the back end.
It's that Ornn dash. If he had made it out of the Rakan knockup, I think he was home free. But unfortunately, is caught just on the edge and does fall. That is a huge pick when your main front line goes down like that.
I think it's just weird. It's the use of the E, not the W, because W ignores CC.
Yeah,
the E has no priority versus anything else, and oh, there's a fight.
Meanwhile, we have the fight for the Dragon, and Zane is the first one to fall. Pun intended will soon follow. Scuttle Defender now finds himself in the middle of the enemy team. Does pop the counter-strike, does get the stun off, but it will cost him. Solomon Khan is not even here. Supreme X Chris drops dangerously low. Gankbeat on him. It's a 2-for-2 so far, but Solomon Khan wants to make that a different number. Dreamless has to use the ult on himself, but that will not save him. It's the second ace in a row for D-Boss, and EOD find themselves in a spot where they do not want to be. 10k down at this stage of the game.
EOD had a great start to that fight. They pick off Zane and Scuttle Defender. I think they need to just kite back, just reset themselves a little bit, because it's really hard to pressure the push with Baron and the Dragon with 2 dead, including your jungler. I think if they're a little bit smarter, they can just back off, wait, kind of get their health bars back up, and then maybe re-engage for the Dragon, or at least to just stop the Baron push and give up another Drake. But, I mean, here we are, now they're down. Like you said, 10k gold is just almost insurmountable.
Yeah, wait, it wasn't an ace. We still see a Fiddlesticks up there in the top brush. So, wasn't none of those were aces. There was a Fiddlesticks left on the field. But at this point, you're just slapping the enemy with your wallet at this point. Like yes, that was such a great fight. And if the gold was even, I think that actually would have gone EOD's way. They had a great pick onto the Zane. That's a huge engager out of the fight for the enemy team. But just at this stage of the game, you are so far behind that it just feels impossible to really get anything done, as one of the fake Fiddlesticks will flash away. And yeah, at this point, this is just not your jungle at this point.
Kog'Maw getting really crazy. He's walking up, frontlining for his team into a blind river. Fortunate that no one wanted to engage on him there, but if you're EOD, I mean, how can you really win this game? Your only saving grace is if a really good Fiddlesticks ult. I mean, he has to come over a wall and hit Xayah and Victor, and you gotta blow them up immediately.
He has to hit multiple people. And you can see the control wards coming down across these walls. The blue wards as well. They are not letting Fiddlesticks get an ult on them. And meanwhile, they have actually found the Fiddlesticks here. Zane drops dangerously low, does pop the ultimate to get a knock-up onto Margin. But the jungler will fall in the 3v5 fight. They will be able to get that pick.
That's what you need. You just need to take one at a time, stop the push, force them to slow this game down, and try to get to that 3-4 item point where your Kai'Sa and your Kog'Maw can just do all the work. Lulu, dang. This does a lot of damage right now.
Yeah, the flash forward will definitely take out the enemy support. Eversick dashes in, but it just leads him to his doom. Gank Me Not Him will be the next to fall. Supreme X Chris, you do not have a team to back you up, and he's forced to flash away. Scuttle Defender will follow, and the ult comes through from pun intended. This might be the saving grace. The stopwatch here from Scuttle Defender will get his ADC away, but it will likely cost him his life. He dashes back in, pun intended. Actually will drop dangerously low, but he will just be able to walk away as Margin is there to back up his jungler.
I mean, they're playing these fights perfectly right now, and the margin for error is so low, but it's working out. Yeah, the gold lead's still there.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I'll remove myself from cast after this, but
that was good. No, that's on me. I walked right into it. You just set it up. That's fine. I mean, they're buying a lot of time. That Baron push got what, to one mid tower, and that was after back-to-back aces. But otherwise, they didn't.
They protect the inhibitor. I thought it fell, but no, it did not. They actually did protect that inhibitor. So yeah, you're right. That Baron push now falling through. And they don't really have much to show for it. It's still at 10K.
Yep, still 10K. I think it actually went down just even a little bit, maybe like a $5,000. But here's the important part: is Baron and Dragon come up at the same time. Now that's 4th Dragon for D-Boss, but it's also Baron. What should they prio more? And is EOD willing to fight for them, or are they happy to just coin flip and try their best?
That's going to be the main question, right? I mean, it is Ocean Soul. It's the most powerful soul in the game. You cannot give that over, but at the same time, if you fight for that, you're giving up Baron, right? So especially if they want to trade the objectives. But like, do you even want to do that as D-Boss? I think you're in a position right now where you are still significantly ahead of the enemy team, and you can just take whatever objective you want.
You say it's the strongest, and I don't disagree, but in this game specifically, there's a lot of burst on the side of EOD, and so I think letting up the Ocean Soul is okay, because if you've seen the Fiddlesticks Kai'Sa kind of blow up squishy targets very quickly, and Kog'Maw shreds through their health bars. I think if these fights only last about 10-15 seconds or so, I think that's fine for EOD. If they give up the Ocean Soul to get the Baron, it buys them some time, and they can still fight scale with all that gold, and then maybe 5 minutes after that at the Elder, be able to win that coin flip fight and maybe close this game out off of a, maybe a smite steal or just a lucky fight or a pick.
I have some exciting news. 13 levels in, Gank Me Not Him has finally leveled his ultimate. We have 1 point in the Kog'Maw ultimate at this point, so as you can see it being used right there. So very exciting times, but finally with that ultimate level, we will see if it provides any benefit for the side of EOD as they find themselves down still quite a lot in this game. They have stemmed the tide for now, but will it be enough to start a recovery here, as Dragon will be spawning here in 10 seconds.
Dragon's about to come up, and then we're going to see, I think, a fight. Oh, maybe Zane might be a little too far forward here. Can they find the catch? Nope, his team's going to come in behind. And Jax has a nice flank. I don't think they see him back there. Oh,
I don't think they do either. My stream paused a little bit, so I might be a little bit behind. I do apologize.
Yep, Jax getting caught out. Had to use his stopwatch. Rakan's all the way in here. This fight is getting messy very quickly.
All right, here we go. We got Eversick flying in. We have Dreamless trying to pop the ultimate onto Marjorie and keeps him alive a little bit longer. But it is just an absolute slaughter here as the Fiddlesticks ult that we were talking about does manage to save the team for a little bit longer. Gank Me Not Him is trying to run away. Zane will soon chase. Does have to turn back onto the Supreme X Chris. And it looks like Solomon Khan will be the last man standing, but will he be standing for long as Supreme X Chris will just chase? There we go, the Kog'Maw ultimate finally coming through. It's an ace here, but at what cost?
I don't think Orin does this. I think you're a little bit behind as well.
I'm a little bit behind. I do apologize. My league crashed, so I do apologize for that.
These things happen. For your reference, I'm at 32-20 right now. It ended up going 5 for 4. Great fight. this is what I said. It's got to the point where the damage is there, and EOD can actually hang in these fights as long as that Kog'Maw isn't immediately blown up, or that Fiddlesticks has a nice angle for his ult. With this Jax TP, this is gonna be ugly.
All right, I think I'm caught up now. Supreme X Chris is trying to run away from the Jax. The Counter-Strike does come through, but you can see now Jax is actually doing damage to this Ornn. The Ornn comes through. The Counter-Strike is there, but now here's Dreamless trying to back up his top laner. The Polymorph does keep him alive for a little bit longer, but the Ornn coming through, that means that's a huge cooldown that they will no longer have access to. That's their main engage, and this Dragon is burning down fast. Okay, Supreme X Chris does try. The Fiddlesticks ult comes through. Will burn down one of them, but it'll just be a trade. 1 for now as Eversick flashes through, gets the multiple charms off, and the dash back out. Slick move from Eversick as Solomon Khan will take out the Kog'Maw, and it is an absolute slaughter. EOD will fall in. I apologize. Will be marching into the enemy base.
It was a good-looking fight there for a second. The Fiddlesticks just a hair late getting over that wall, not even just for the Dragon steal potentially, but just for the fight as a whole. And then Kog'Maw was just off by himself, ganking at him, trying to 1v1 a Victor on the flank there, and obviously did not win that one. EOD is going to fall. They put up a great fight. They hung in there despite being down so much gold, but unfortunately they are going to drop this first game.
Yeah, I think they did very well considering the circumstances. Those late game team fights, I honestly think if the gold was more even, I think a few of those fights would have gone their way.
Yeah, I mean, it was close. They just got into a little bit of a hole, and they just couldn't quite finish crawling back out of it. I think that they got a little too excited there at the end. They realized, hey, we're winning these fights. And that last one they took at the Dragon, they were just a little too confident. They didn't remember, hey, we're still down 10k gold. We have to be respectful. The Ornn trying to start the Dragon immediately after that first fight, he should just reset himself, get himself oriented, and then they push all together. Him getting caught by the Jax, forced to use that ult in the one-on-one, really hurt his team when that full fight came on.
Yeah, absolutely. All in all, still a very, very entertaining game. Lots of action. That is exactly what we want to see. Definitely a banger to kick off this series, but EOD is going to have to change some things, whether it's in draft, whether it's the way that they conduct these early game team fights. I think they just got a bit behind the 8 ball early, giving up some of these neutral objectives, and it just spiraled completely out of control, right? I mean, they were winning in the jungle. They were winning in top lane. They have avenues that they could have gone through in order to win this game, but just it fell by the wayside. And I think as soon as they got behind, they just couldn't stop that snowball effect.
Yeah, so I'll be curious to see how they opt to change. Obviously, we saw that Ornn get off to a nice 3-0 start. He was ahead, but it's an Ornn. If that's a Jax, if that's a Gwen, a Camille, they can take over a game. Ornn can only do so much. So it'll be interesting to see if they like that top matchup, if they feel confident in him being able to win again, if they put him on something more aggressive, more carry-oriented, and maybe shift that utility to the jungle or the support role, or maybe even mid. You put something like the Anivia, the Galio, to play a little bit slower in the mid lane, and then give that advantage to your solo lane that is winning.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely going to need to make some adjustments here in game 2. But in the meantime, we are going to go to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game 2 action between EOD and D-Boss. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody in here, out there, wherever you may be. Welcome back to Risen Esports. We got game two action between EOD and D-Boss. So, as we get into game two of this draft, the what are the changes that you are looking for, especially out of EOD, in order to make this game go to or make the series go to a game three?
I think first they need to pick a slightly simpler comp. We saw it last game. They had a great late game. They were doing well in these fights later, but they were down so much from the first 15, 20 minutes that it was really hard to claw back into it. I think they need to draft something a little bit simpler, a bit safer, and just play for that mid game. They played the mid game and late game fights splendidly. They need to draft a comp around that rather than this weird hyper scaling, really like isolated laners that don't do a whole like the Kai'Sa was great, did a lot of damage. She doesn't have a whole lot of lane priority against something like the Victor.
Yeah, it is going to be they are going to have to make some adjustments. I think you're right. Trying to establish, an easier comp will be a good step in the right direction. But we have jumped into draft here for game two, so we're just going to hop over to that screen right now. As we can look right now, it's going to be very similar bands. We have swapped, so it will be EOD here on the red side, will be Double B's All Stars on the blue side. But the bands remaining relatively the same so far, as Amumu and Maokai have been taken out. Azir and Jarvan on the other side. They are missing that third band because they lost two of their bands, so we're not going to get a third band here out of the blue side, but we'll see what the final band will be here. As once again, those high ganky jugglers, Amumu, Jarvan, and Maokai are taken out. It's going to be Zaya, which is taken out on the side of EOD.
I like it. I like the Zaya ban. It obviously did really well last game, and it made that lane really hard to do anything with. The Nyla first pick is really interesting. I like her. I think Sona's her best pairing. So we'll see how they opt to play this draft phase.
I
It's
hate
really
Zaya.
interesting to
Or
see.
not Zaya. I hate Nyla. She is one of the jugglers. Okay, for me, I find her to be one of the jugglers' like worst nightmares because you want to gank the ADC as much as possible. She is someone who can block auto attacks, and for someone who plays things like Briar, like Nocturne, like Belveth, that's annoying. And she could just dash away, and if you get closer to her and she ults you, that's exactly where she wants to ult you from. So you mentioned the Sona. It's going to be picked up on the other side, along with Dr. Mundo, denying that lane pairing that Nyla enjoys so much.
And I think the Sona steal is interesting. I'm curious if that's they actually want to play it, or rather, we need to make sure Nyla doesn't have it. So we'll see how that goes. And the Mundo is a really nice blind. He's pretty safe in the lane, scales really well, and can actually duel well into most tanks because he has that max health damage on the Q.
Yeah,
So
so Supreme X Chris doing extremely well on the Ornn last game, deviating a bit, picking a different tank. But is this going to be an even scarier option? Because Dr. Mundo is one where if he is fed, he will run you down, throw cleavers at you until you stop breathing. So is that going to be a bit scarier than the Ornn that they had last game?
yeah, but they pick a great kind of. Gwen is a beautiful pick into the Mundo. It kind of just takes him out of that lane because she can kill him pretty well with all the true damage she offers, and she can avoid a lot of the being run down portion with the Mundo cleavers and the Skarner. There's no way, right?
There's shout out to Captain Flowers.
My goodness, Skarner is that's
Hey,
the choice.
we are getting Skarner, Dr. Mundo, and Soda. Three of the most common champions in League of Legends right
Yeah,
now.
I mean, obvious first picks across the board. Really, no shockers here. But I think it's. I mean, they're holding the ADC in mid, late, which I'm assuming mid lane's gonna get R5 counter. So,
It's
what
going.
what ADC do they
This is an
want?
interesting draft. Like I think. I mean, on the other side, the only real meta champion that I could really see is Rel in this draft. Right? You don't see a lot of Gwen. You don't see a lot of Nyla. You don't see any Skarner. You don't see a lot of Doctor Mundo, and I haven't seen Sona since Seraphine was released. So like.
I think I think Jinx is going to be the R4 here. That's what I would like because they're super lacking on damage. They have great peel and engage, CC. Like they have so much to put in front of someone and to support it with the Sona. I think Jinx makes the most sense. She's got great range, great damage, great scaling. She can peel pretty, not peel, but she can be in these fights really well. She gets one reset. Going hyper is just insane. And
they still don't have a lot of engage. They have a lot of pick potential, I think, if Skarner is able to get onto one of the enemy team. But the issue is, will he be able to do that, right? If you look at the other side, you have a Gwen who could dash away, you have a Nyla who could dash away, you have a Rel who could dash away. I think it might be a little bit tough for Skarner to really set up a pick on these crucial members on the enemy team. So
see,
we'll
but
see
you're
how
thinking
they
about it
augment
as
that.
Skarner being a engage, but think of this as a Skarner peel angle, right? He's going to when someone jumps on whatever carry
Okay,
they opt
I don't know.
for,
I don't know what this draft is. Aatrox is picked up.
it
Is that
could
Aatrox mid?
be yes, maybe, unless it's like Aatrox on a bot lane and they know something that I don't. But is this is just a bully draft. They're going full. I wouldn't be shocked if they added in something crazy like a Nocturne or a Scion, like some other just full send champion, and their goal is to be beefy and just run straight into the enemy team.
It'll be an interesting last pick for them. As Sejuani is picked up here for the jungle, so that Rel is going to be going down with the Nyla in the bot lane. Not the most common pairing, I don't think. Rel does Rel shield still? I think she shields on her E, right? Because then the
Maybe.
benefit does go over to Nyla, but no heals or anything, so not as good as potential pairing could be. But I mean, engage with Nyla is never a bad thing. Very, very AP heavy, as it's going to be Orianna picked up here. That a full magic damage topside is not generally what you want to look for, but
Well, Gwen's
um,
got true damage, right? So it's fine. And Sejuani's base damage is high, and itemizing MR as a whole is less than ideal. It's like Swain. I love it. Swain really fits this comp. I think they need to pick it. It
Swain
makes
so
so much sense.
Swain Sona bot lane, I like it. Yeah, no, I think this is a really good pick to fight alongside here. But I think one thing that could counter EOD's comp right now, someone buys Grievous Wounds.
Yeah,
All
Grievous
of a sudden,
wounds.
Mundo doesn't work, Soda doesn't work, Aatrox doesn't work, and Swain
Swain.
doesn't
Yep.
work. I think they put in a lot of eggs into the we're gonna heal basket, and it'll be tough to see if that pays off.
Yeah, but who's really the best? Like Oriana is the best one to apply it because Sejuani's only way to get it would be Thornmail. She has to be attacked. There's not a whole lot of auto attacking going on from EOD side here. It's mostly ability casts.
Yeah.
Same with Ralph. Thornmail's her best bet. Not a lot of auto. So Nyla could get it, Gwen could get it, Oriana could get it, but how effectively will it be applied to the entire team? The other big thing is there's not a lot of range in this game. You've got Swain, Sona, Oriana, and Nyla are the only 4 range champions, and even their abilities aren't, there's no Jinx, Vel'Koz, Xerath here. This is going to be a very scrappy fight.
And also,
Um,
technically, Nyla isn't even ranged.
I mean, yeah,
She's a melee
technically.
ADC, technically.
But so it's gonna be these fights are gonna be interesting. I think the Swain Sona should be able to bully the Nyla Rel in this lane. I would be shocked if they, lose it because they have the range advantage, they have the poke advantage. They should be able to slowly chip away at these health bars and then make a move when the claw comes out from Swain. Um, and then
All
Skarner
right.
obviously looking for a good angle.
All right, EOD back against the wall. They need a win here in order to, uh, you know, send themselves into the playoffs here. That'll put them at 3-2, and I think that puts them out of reach from any of the other teams, and that solidifies playoffs for them. So they're back against the wall here. Oh, it's going to be okay. So it's going to be it's
Mundo Sona
Mundo
bot lane.
ADC. It's Mundo ADC.
I don't hate it actually because, like you said, Nyla's melee. And when is a Nyla ever going to kill a Mundo other than maybe in the first, like before first back? But after that, Mundo's going to grab, plated steel caps and, a reju bead, and he's not going to be touchable, especially with the Sona healing him. And then Rel can't CC him because he's got that passive to protect himself. It kind of just negates the lane, and then they're going to wait. No, okay. I thought Sona was going to get picked to be like a shotgun Sona build. I'm so sorry, but
No,
uh,
I think they were just trolling, but or they might be out of order and they might just swap here or something. But I'm assuming that's Mundo ADC,
this
and
is going to be interesting.
it's gonna be super interesting because like they slammed that down in their first 2 picks. Or was it always going to be the attention to throw Dr. Mundo towards the bot lane, or do you think that's something they adapted on like later on in the draft once they saw,
I
where the
think
rest of them are gonna go?
I think it's a two-way thing. I think one, they were like, hey, we like, maybe they're like, hey, we like the Mundo Sona as a counter to Nyla and whatever else. So they pick it. They're like, we could flex it, but also you see Mundo, you're not thinking bot lane Mundo. So you have that, oh, we've picked our top laner. And then look, they went out and grabbed the Gwen. Okay, Gwen counters Mundo, and then they come back with the Aatrox later. So they get an automatic counter pick. They got double counter pick in their solo lanes. And they got, I assume, a bot lane matchup that they preferred and liked. So realistically, they've counted all three lanes in one go in one draft, which is really nice on paper. Now it comes down to execution. Can they pull it off? Because it's a very weird comp, very atypical. Are they going to be able? Are they practiced enough? Are they skilled enough to make it win?
That's the age old question, right? You mentioned it. Not a lot of range in either one of these comps, which is perfect for Swain, which is perfect for Aatrox. Like Oriana is still going to be squishy. She doesn't have a lot of range, but she doesn't necessarily want to be next to all of these big boys that as their wailing on her with cleavers and Skarner ults and all that stuff. So like I think the lack of range in both of these comps is going to be super beneficial because also look at how tanky the enemy team is. Like they do have tank killers in the Gwen, but like is that going to be enough? Like Nyla isn't going to necessarily be like cleaving through these. Like Oriana is not really a tank killer. She's more of a burst mage or control mage. So like it's this is an interesting draft. I like the direction that EOD is going with this. I think it kind of falls into a um similar sort of comp to their last game. It's going to be a very very high risk, but if they pull it off, I think it'll be very very beneficial for them.
Yeah, I think it's actually lower risk this time around. Because when you look at this side of DBoss, it's pretty pick, right? They have Sejuani, Ori, Nyla, Rel. They want to get a quick jump on a couple targets, pull them all together, and blow them up. Who are you blowing up on the side of EOD? All of them are going to have pretty beefy health, but they don't have like 3k HP and 150 plus resistances. You're not blowing that up. And if you jump on them and you don't kill them immediately, they have a great re-engage. Sona speed up with her E, and I assume Shirelia's. They're going to run right at you. Mundo's Cleaver slowing you down. Swain's EW slowing you down. Skarner and Aatrox have dashes and slows and CC. I mean, if they don't find a nice pick on Sona Swain, probably the two squishier members, if you don't blow them up immediately, I think this team can just turn right around and run you down.
Yeah, it's going to be a spicy game for sure. Um final say before we go to a quick break here. Going not in a vacuum at all. Going off what we know about these two teams and the draft, are we going to a game 3 or is this going to be a quick 2-0 for D-Boss?
This is going to a game 3. I think it's going to be a slugfest. We're seeing like 35-minute game minimum, but I think we're going to see a game 3.
Okay. We will I believe you predicted D-Boss last game if I'm not mistaken. So we will see if you're 2 for 2. We are going to go to a quick break here as we wait for the spectator delay to finish. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more action here on Risen Esports. Welcome everybody. Welcome back to Risen Esports. We have game 2 action between EOD and D-Boss. D-Boss taking game 1. EOD responding with an insanely spicy draft. We got a Sona Dr. Mundo bot lane. It's going to be curious to see how they fare into what is technically another melee matchup in the Nyla with the Rel as well. Lack of range means that actually could be very, very beneficial for Mundo ADC. So we will see how this works out. Sizzle, how you doing over there?
I'm good. I think, like I said last game, that the Fiddlesticks, that jungler was going to be the big point. I think here, the bot lane is going to be the name of the game. How does this interaction go? Obviously, like you said, the Nyla's going to have better wave clear than Mundo, more than likely. She's got the, I think it's her Q, the whip, that helps clear the waves faster.
And then makes her a ranged champion. So
yeah. So I think that's going to be, hey, does D-Boss get lane pride in the bot lane? Does Mundo just become so unkillable? Does their whole team become so unkillable that these ganks don't do anything? Obviously, Sejuani's nice, good CC on a gank, but you got to do a lot of damage after these first couple backs from these guys to really cut through those health bars. Does she have the follow-up from her team to help get it done?
What I'm scared of is if EOD do not get ahead, or if they do get ahead, I'm sorry, how on earth will B-Boss D-Boss, sorry, how will they even chew through this immense front line of the enemy team, right? Like how do you even get through that with the champions that you have? Like, I feel like if D-Boss fall too far behind, they're just not gonna have any way to really contest anything. Then it's going to be very interesting. This early game is going to be very, very crucial for both these teams.
I think the first 15 minutes are going to show us how this game's really looking to go. Like you said, if EOD gets a lead, it's going to be really hard to kill them. This is not a composition meant to come from behind on the side of D-Boss. And these trades early on are going really well in favor of Gwen.
Yeah, and bot lane as well. They've already been pushed under tower. They did just get the level 2, so might be able to trade back a little bit now that they got some levels. But Supreme X Chris dropping a little bit low to Scuttle Defender, but overall, not a very high impact first few minutes of the game. We have junglers pathing both towards top lane this time. So a very, very potential volatile situation could occur as we see Skarner and Sejuani on the top side. What are you looking for here from both these teams?
Well, I'm looking for this Aatrox to not get 1v1'd here, ideally. But I think, like the top lane is great. Mine really wants this. If she has flash, I think she gets it. But it makes sense to path out. Neither of these bot lanes are really going to have a lot of kill pride with this early.
This might be a dive angle. Scuttle Defender. You cannot stay there, Supreme X Chris, as Gwen will get the solo kill. Pun intended here to try and defend. The TP will come through. Supreme X Chris. Scuttle Defender is dangerously low. Zane forces the flash out of pun intent, but here comes the Aatrox to try and defend. Scuttle Defender is here. Supreme X Chris dropping dangerously low. The stun comes through and the final Q won't come through. And it's Scuttle Defender picking up the first kill. The second kill as well. Scuttle Defender will defend more than Scuttle. He'll defend his jungler as well. That's 3 quick kills picked up here. And the tower will... eat a little bit too close to the tower there. Does trade one back. Meanwhile, down in bot lane, Dreamless will drop. Eversick is forced to flash away. Gank! Oh, gank me, not him. Trying to chase the enemy support. The flash stun means a double kill for Double B. 5 kills picked up in 4 minutes for the side of D-Boss. Might be even more here as Margarine is already dangerously low. The stun comes through. The flash forward for Solomon Khan. And it's Zane picking up the kill onto Margarine. Pun intended is here as well, but he has no flash. Zane is dropping dangerously low, is forced to run away, but the minions are attacking, and the minions will take him out. Pun intended gets kill credit there. Oh, I've been talking nonstop.
There was a lot of action. Now we're going to break all this down. First of all, that Gwen picking up 3 kills. I mean, look, no disrespect to EOD, but that was the ugliest, Hashinshin TP, weird fight. That just, it was not played very well. They got punished really hard. Gwen's got a great lead for it now. The bot lane fight makes sense. It was good. It looked nice. Just not quite having the range difference from the Moon. That was the real big issue there. He couldn't quite finish that kill because the only range thing is that Q, and he can't throw it through minions, unfortunately for him. So Just unlucky from EOD. They have a pretty big hole to come out of now. 1.5K gold at 5 minutes.
It's I don't know if you ever saw that meme, but it was like my top laner dies, and then it shows like someone holding it like a Yu-Gi-Oh card with teleport on it, and I'll do it again. Like that was kind of just a really feels bad moment here for Supreme X Chris. I don't even necessarily think it was his fault. Just lost out on the early trades, and then just unfortunately TP'd into what should have been potentially a winning fight. But here we go. He's a level down, an ultimate down. And that is 4 kills going over to the Gwen and Supreme X Chris. 16 CS. This is just absolute bullying here for the Scuttle defender.
This Gwen is really strong. 4-1. Already, honestly, might have Mythic after she finishes crashing this wave. And
meanwhile, you're in mid lane. Margarine does not have flash, does not have a way out. And that is now 8 kills in 6 minutes going over to the side of D-Boss.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so good. I think he didn't quite have the secondary pull on his E to get her back into the W, which it's called like Imperial something or other, but almost pulls her in and then just short on the Q. I think if he hits it, he kills her. I believe he's got Triumph, so he's probably able to walk away from the Sedge. Just these fights are so close right now. EOD is like on the edge of winning some of these, but not quite. And they keep committing to the next
2 levels down. Does get Scuttle Crab kind of low, but he is a Gwen. He pops the Q at Supreme X Chris. Already just a couple autos away. The second Q will be enough. Scuttle Defender is putting on his top lane div hat as he is now 5-1 in this matchup.
No, that is just like, this is where you as a jungler or a teammate, you're like, hey man, you haven't won the first 3 fights, maybe the 4th one isn't the way to go.
Just stay under tower, bro. It's fine. Like, but it's not. It's not. The Supreme X Chris just is struggling in this matchup, and for good reason. Like a fed Gwen, you cannot. I say this constantly. I played top lane for 3 years. Top lane is arguably, in my opinion, the much harder role than something like jungle. If you get behind on something that's not even your fault, what can you do for the rest of the game? Like, it's
7.5 minute. It's just, what are you supposed to do against that? There's just no counterplay. He's got double longsword, a call.
Oh, pun intended. This is not your territory. What are you doing here? Solomon Khan will pick up that kill. It's the 10th one here for the side of D-Boss. This is crumbling before their eyes.
This is where you as a team need to lock up. So whoever their shot caller, captain, whatever, someone needs to be like, hey guys, we need to stop. Like, we need to calm down, take a breath, and just chill. Sona, I thought they wanted to go in there. She looked like she was baiting out the ult, but Aatrox just trying to find a fight here.
Just trying to do whatever he can in this matchup. At this point, no matter what he does, it's beyond his control, right? So you just kind of got to stem the tide a little bit. Pops the ultimate. Scuttle, oh my goodness, he turns it around! Scuttle Defender gets a little too cocky in the matchup, and Supreme X Chris says 5-1. Let's correct that, and we'll take out the Gwen.
Obviously plan, you know, tactical inting, give her a shutdown to grab it later. Obviously.
Boss, man, it's a real thing.
But no, I mean, it looks good. I mean, he's able to like kind of get a little bit back in there. The Gwen's still really ahead though, at 5-2, up 20 farm, has 2 tower platings, that's under 250 gold. But that first dragon,
her Nasher's tooth, like that is.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that Supreme X Chris was able to pick up a solo kill there, as that is. He waited for his opportunity and made the most of it. So well played to him.
Yeah, no, he's doing a good job of just like hitting those Q1, Q2, being back, and just doing that over and over, slowly whittling down that health bar until it's just enough to, you know, press ult and go crazy.
Pun intended is going to be in a 1v1 versus the enemy mid laner. Does pop that ultimate, and will it be enough to take out the Orianna? Does flash away. He is picking up as many honey fruits as he can, is flashing away from the very scary Gwen as well. But it looks like now Gwen is trapped between the enemy team, but I highly doubt she is in much danger, as she is 5-2 and will just be able to walk out. So no deaths here on the top side.
Gwen is immune. No, you missed it. Supreme X Chris actually flashed to try to pick up the Orianna there at the end, wasn't able to find it, so he is now down a flash in a lane that he doesn't want to be down a flash in. it's just a big leader. It's 3K on the dot now. They have a dragon. They're starting up their Herald with that Sejuani. Again, all these objectives going the way of D-Boss to start this game.
And I mean, the farm and bot side actually relatively even. Meanwhile, Margarine has popped an ultimate here in mid lane, is trying to pick up the kill onto Zane. Solomon Khan trying to keep his jungler alive, but here comes pun intended as well. The stun comes through, but here comes the Swain root. The slow is there as well. Swain forces the flash after Zane. Forces the flash away, and Swain will follow suit after here. Scuttle Defender pops his own ultimate. Mr. Supreme X Chris loses the ultimate here, and Scuttle Defender, I think that's now his 5th solo kill of the game. That actually, wait, no, that can't be correct. I think it's his 3rd or 4th at this stage, but
it's 5.
It was that close.
The double kill that he got, but
exactly,
yeah.
Double kill. Yeah, that one. Yeah, neither of those were solo kills. So that's his 4th solo kill of the game. And another tally to the list of Solomon Khan with the Shockwave. We'll pick up another in mid lane. 4K up 11 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was so close for Supreme X Chris in the top lane. He almost able to win, but the Gwen with the Nashor's Tooth completed has enough attack speed to get that passive set up and ready to go. And then Swain just stepping a little bit too far forward. The Shockwave able to hit. This bot lane actually is doing pretty well, though. Only down 10 farms for the Mundo. It's actually not too bad. It looks like he actually... I think they could have chased that. I was almost dead.
All right, Solomon Khan is getting chased by the Scorpion King, but the slow will stall Skarner for now as he's going for the Spire. But the Spire might cost you your life, my friend, as here comes the bot lane from the enemy team, and it's Double B picking up the kill. Eversick is here, gets hit by the cleaver, so he's very slowed and dashes in, but doesn't pick up anybody. He does pop the ultimate, but Sona ults in return. And Genki.him is looking for Eversick here, will likely pick him up, but Double B will be able to respond by killing the Sona. But now he finds himself in a position he does not want to be. A Mundo right on his tail, and Mundo goes where he pleases and will take out the enemy ADC.
I mean, that's the value of the Mundo pick. That's exactly what I was expecting it to turn into. Just you don't actually have the damage. You went Collector first. I'm not saying it's a bad item on Nyla, but that's not going to kill a Mundo. You know, he is too beefy for that. You need an LDR, something crazy to cut through the armor, the health he's going to have, especially with all the, and the healing cut, obviously what you're going to need as well, and no one has it quite yet on the side of D-Boss. But Aatrox is going to have his 6th back here.
The trumpets, this is the most dead Aatrox I have ever seen. Scuttle Defender will pick that up. 3 of the enemy here. There was no way without Flash he was making, even with Flash, I don't think he was going to make it out of that. But, so Scuttle Defender is going to be a problem here for EOD. This is just going to be so difficult for them to win. The Shockwave takes out not only the wave, but a significant chunk of Margin's health as well. He does pop that ultimate, is forced to run away. It's the Skarner will be here to defend him, so he will get out, but Chunk dangerously low, will likely have to recall here.
Yeah, I mean, they're so behind at this point. It's now 5.5K gold. It's just not much you can do. You're bleeding all across the map. They're going to lose the second dragon here in about a minute.
They might even lose the entire mid turret as well. They will get the charge at least. Plating dropping in 10 seconds, so they might even get the tower. If they stay, no, they will be able to take out the wave. So not quite the tower yet, but with dragon spawning here in 30 seconds, just D-Boss in prime position to take control of this map here.
I mean, the plating difference alone is huge. You got a full tower top. You got all but one plating bot lane and all but one
flash here from Eversick does drop the ultimate as well. And Dreamless, you will fall first. Mundo is trapped with nowhere to go. He is running to his tower. Will he be able to survive? Is forced to flash away, and Eversick will get out. So they will only pick up the 1 kill there onto the Sona, and the Dr. Mundo with Thornmail completed will be able to walk away.
I mean, here's the thing. Mundo's doing great here. He's obviously really hard to kill. The Aatrox is doing solid. He's just really far behind. If they hadn't bled so much, like the 3 kills in, you know, the 30-second span top, if you don't bleed all those early, I think they're in a fine spot here, but they just made too many mental mistakes early, and it's cost them. Now they're really far behind, and I don't know if they have what it takes from a champion standpoint to scale back into this game and be able to win later.
It is going to be very, very difficult. There's a 200 gold bounty here on Scuttle Defender, and here comes pun intend and Margarine. The boys are here to defend their top lane, and the shutdown comes through, but with 3 showing up on the top side, they know it's free reign to go in here bot, and it's going to be a kill picked up here on the Sona. And here comes the TP. Supreme X Chris is here. Eversick will drop dangerously low, but the pullback will not be in time. Gank Me Not Him pops the ultimate and is tanking the turret for now. Eversick does pop that shield, dashes back in. Supreme X Chris will drop the double B, and Gank Me Not Him is jumped by 4 of the enemy team, and the TP will just spell disaster this game here for the side of EOD.
I mean, it looked nice there. I think the Aatrox able to TP in a couple seconds sooner, maybe. But just, like, again, not quite able to finish that kill on the route because they don't have the range to hit her. Just so close. It's so close, but it's just not quite enough on EOD's side.
It's just these TPs are really burning Supreme X Chris. That's now twice he's TP'd in just to die. And just, like, that's just your huge global tool. Just take it out of the game completely. So I think, like, it's an already 9K or 8K gold down at this stage of the game is just
I mean, they haven't even
so
gotten
difficult.
I think they've got around half of mid turret is the best they have in terms of any kind of objective taken down. Obviously not in any way able to compete for these dragons, heralds, or barons at the moment. Third dragon gonna be coming up here in the next couple of minutes, and it's gonna be, you know, threatening.
You find yourself in a position you don't want to be. You're warding without any help, but you do have a horse. Might be able to get you out, but here comes Mundo. He has Dreamless to back him up. Eversick dashes back in, and here goes in double B. Does pop the ultimate. Is that going to be enough to save them? No, it is not. Double B is forced to run away, but you will not get far. That's 2 kills here picked up for the side of EOD. 10 or 8K down, picking up 2 kills. You'll never say no to that.
Yeah, I mean, great. Shutdown onto that Nyla as well. They're actually gonna die here.
He dropped the ultimate. The flash forward for Solomon Khan is not enough to take out the Mundo. But I don't think they could really fight for anything right now. They did try to knock down that that turret here in the mid lane, but it might cost them. Gank Me Not Him, drop into the Gwen. The Gwen is the tank killer, but not just that. She will take out everybody on the enemy team as Suede will drop next.
That was so much damage from the Gwen. I mean, if they're able to get away, the play looked really good. They got 2 kills for none, almost got a tower, but instead they immediately give those 2 kills back and are looking to potentially lose a tower here.
It's just, how do you even respond to Gwen? Pun intended, forced to flash the wall. Dreamless does try to walk away, and Zane, who did pop that ultimate, will not really get any benefit out of it, but is able to disengage.
Yeah, they're able to get away. I mean, 2 kills still for none. Skarner, trying to regain control of his jungle a little bit, but there's not a whole lot for him to do. A lot of his camps have been stolen away. His bot side's ready to go, but it's going to take him a minute to get down there. And this Gwen, just a monster in the split push game here.
Who can contest her? She has the rocket belt. She has the Nash's tooth. She's stacking her dark seal. She did lose it off that kill on the top side, but she's still 9-3. Like, she has the second most CS in the game. Like,
she's still got 4 stacks as well. So by no means, there's gonna be a play on the Baron here. Look at that. Sorry, that's the Herald.
Jungler shows bot side. Will he even pick up the Gwen here?
I don't think he can even kill her.
No, he can't. She has a dash, and her also pun intended just has to run away. Not the Baron, unfortunately. It's 19 minutes, but it is going to be a play on the Rift Herald for free. Gank Me Not Him will be able to take out this mid turret at least, so getting a little bit of gold back, but is it even worth it at this point?
I mean, the gold's always worth it. You need gold. They're so behind anything they can get, and there's going to be a play mid lane here. They have it. Numbers collapsing.
All right, Zane does manage to dash away. I'm just thinking, you know, like, what's the angle here? You're EOD. You're down 8K gold at this point, or 7K gold at this point. How do you even start to try and make your way back into the game? They might be able to pick up the dragon here, but they do have the enemy team bearing down on them.
And she's got TP, so she can rejoin this fight anytime she wants.
All right, dragon dropping low. The smite does pick it up, and then they will just be able to walk away. So they opt to just maintain the split push here in top lane. They are giving up one of the objectives that stops the dragon stacking, but I don't think they care much at this point.
I mean, that's really worth it. They're going to Herald Crash. They're going to get 2 towers to lose 1 Cloud Drake. Yeah, the Drake is nice, but it's a Cloud. It's not doing a whole ton for you as a team. And you're going to lose a lot. You lose 2 towers and potentially a 3rd if they really want to commit to this crash. Nope, they're not going to force it. I think they could have brought it in, honestly.
But here we go. The fight has been kicked off. Gwen is still out of the fight. The TP will come through. But Supreme X Chris will first pick up the kill onto Eversick. And it looks like Zayd will drop as well. But here comes the Gwen. But it's the Skarner ult that keeps her locked in place. She will pick up a first kill onto the enemy ADC. But finally will go down. That's 3 for 1. 7k down. They managed to win the fight.
Yeah, that was. But the only reason they win, exhaust. Exhaust on the Gwen took most of her damage out as she threw down ults and passive and power Q. If that exhaust isn't there, they get wiped out. So obviously great play, got them some gold, but they have to remember they didn't win because they just straight up beat them. They won because they took away all of that Gwen's damage with the exhaust. Need to be a lot more careful. They have some gold now. They got some great shutdowns. They bought themselves a little bit of time. But like last game, they were winning some of these fights later, but then they got too aggressive, too cocky. And so they need to remember, hey, we're still behind. We're down however much gold. At this point, it's 7k. They need to be respectful and slowly look for these picks 1-2 at a time. They've been doing it really well so far in this mid game. A few more of those, they could be back in this and ready to compete for these Barons and maybe this 3rd, 4th dragon.
Yeah, but you know they are still, like you said, significantly down in this matchup right now. They might be looking for a pick here as the ult comes through from Supreme X Chris, but the flash from Double V will keep himself alive. So that's a pretty big summoner for just an ult coming through from the other side.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. This is what they need to do. Just, hey, someone's a little bit too far forward. They have pretty good upfront damage, and they can kite more or less well. Look for one guy, grab him like this. Perfect. Grabbing the Rel, doing some damage to her.
They're doing the Baron dance now as objective bounties are still applied here. Supreme X Chris trying to go against the Scuttle Defender, who is taking a lot of tower shots, is down half health already, but she is a Gwen, does have the healing. Supreme X Chris already dropped dangerously low, forced to flash away. Scuttle Defender does not care.
Yeah, it looked really good from the Aatrox. Gwen took some power aggro, but it was just a little bit too low, and Skarner might have to go for a steal here. They've got vision in the pit.
The blast cone is there, but it looks like he's just opting to run around. There is no TP on the Gwen. They might be looking to fight here. Eversick dives back in, gets the multi-man knock up. The shockwave comes through as well, and that is going to be detrimental for the side of EOD. Double kill already picked up. Make it a triple. Double B is showing them what an 80 carry is supposed to do, as Margin is just forced to walk away. It's a 3 for nothing. Gwen wasn't even in the fight, and they still managed to win it.
Yeah, I mean, it looked so good. They chased them off, and that Rel just came right back in and ripped their team apart. Ball got on top as well, and just the combo damage was so much. Swain dancing around this. He wants to try to contest this.
The smite did go a bit early. If Marjorie was there, he might have been able to do something about it. But now he may pay for those sins with his life. Does manage to flash out. Zane is chasing, but as soon as he sees the Aatrox, might just opt to maybe run away, but it might be a little, might be a little bit too late. Does have to burn his flash in order to get out.
I mean, hey, it slows down the Baron push a little bit. Yeah, they got it, but they're taking a lot of time to get these resets off. So it's going to eat a little bit from that, which is nice. We'll see what ends up happening. This dragon is going to come up. I think if EOD's smart, they just give this dragon. You lightly contest it enough to just waste a little bit of time, but you never actually commit to the fight. It's a little bit of poke. Hey, if you find an awesome pick, great. If not, you'll waste a little bit more of this Baron timer. It's already about 45 seconds gone. You can make them waste any more doing this dragon than they need to. You buy yourself some time, and maybe you can stall out for the next fight. Maybe your comp comes online, you're able to take these fights the way you want to.
Yeah, we'll have to see. You know, taking the dragon obviously does slow down their Baron push as well. So, you know, I think you're right. Just often maybe just give this up for now. They're not really in a position to fight for it, but they might not have a choice as Double B ults. And Margarine, you might be a Swain, but not even you can heal through that damage. The shockwave from Solomon Khan will earn him a solo kill in the mid lane as well. Ganking on him is chasing after the Orianna, is dropping dangerously low, but does proc that ultimate, will keep himself healing. The flash from Solomon Khan back to his own team. Supreme X Chris is trying to salvage this game, but there is nothing left in the tank for EOD. That is 3 free kills, and they are marching into the enemy base.
There's going to be games. Skarner can't defend this. Mundo can back, but it's going to be a 2v5. There's no way these two are able to do it. Gwen is just shredding these towers alone.
Scuttle Defender is suppressed and taking tower aggro as well. That actually might have been a genius play by the Skarner, but it just will take out one of them. There's still 4 on the enemy team, but the spawns are coming through. The tower's dropping dangerously low. But here come the boys to defend what is theirs. Eversick, it does not have the horse, but he will mount up here, but still won't have a dash. And Eversick will drop to gank meat on him. They are trying to still make their escape as they were unable to end the game. D-Boss is running. They are running, but they have nowhere to run to. Mundo is here, and he goes where he pleases. Picks up the shutdown onto Solomon Khan, but Double B will turn this around and take out the Mundo. Double B dangerously low, will try to take out this red buff. Dreamless is also dropping as well. The red buff is picked up by Margarine, and Zane might just be the sacrificial lamb to try and keep his ADC alive. The flash from Dreamless will keep himself in the fight. They defend the base. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was intense, but Skarner did a great job. Got the Gwen to eat tower aggro, and then did just enough CC and damage, kept her in there long enough to die to it. That's huge for their ability to survive this game, but do they want to go for, I think they give the Cloud here. I think you just keep buying yourself some time. You've got yourselves reset now. You can re-evaluate where you are. You've got some big items, about 2 items for everybody. Maybe they can win these fights now if they can keep finding these, well-placed engages. Mundo becoming hard to kill, but the Heartsteel is an interesting choice. It's really hard for him to practice. He's only got 104 on it so far. I think maybe a Jack Show or a Radiant Virtue might have been a little bit more applicable.
I think Radiant would have been a better overall pick. Obviously, Heartsteel, if you can get enough procs on it and as the game progresses. It also might just be because they're so far behind, he's unable to proc it, but Scuttle Defender, 3 on the enemy team. Who the heck cares? I am Gwen, and I am here to take your base. But okay, maybe 4 is a bit too much.
I mean, if you saw Sona ulted the wrong way and dies for it, I think if the Sona ult goes down properly, it's a winnable thing. But oh my, the damage is here.
Yep, and here we go. We still got going. It looks like they are going to try and get into the enemy base. And I'm sorry, my game crashed again, but I am back. Looks like Zane is trying to take out Margarine. Eversick is dropping dangerously low, so is Gankmeat on him. Solomon Khan is trying to get the solo kill and will get it onto Gankmeat on him. Margarine is taking out the Zane. Pun intended, is here to back up his mid laner, but looks like the rest of the squad, they will not be able to end just yet. So yet again, the defense is here. My goodness, I'm sorry, it's very difficult to talk this intensely for so long. And here we go, Margarine is going to get on a killing spree now as he's able to take out Solomon Khan. Eversick was trying to see if there's a way to save his mid laner, but there was not.
Margarine is doing a lot of work in these fights. These Swain ults are lasting the entire fight. He's doing perfectly and kiting right around the edge, keeping people in range to keep it going, but not being able to get jumped on. I mean, his health bar, if you've watched, he's like 500 health in some of these fights and just walking right next to people, knowing their cooldowns, and when to back up, when to walk forward. And I think we're getting to that point now. Look, it's not even 10k difference. This is definitely a winnable game. The gold difference not as bad as it was last game, and they're going to have a much worse soul in that Cloud if they're able to stall. It's winnable. It's winnable at this point. You've lasted long enough. Yeah, the Ori's one-shotting Sona.
Yeah, I think any game at this stage is, if you win a team fight, you can march into the enemy base and win it. It's all about whether or not you win that team fight, and it's going to be very, very crucial here. With Baron spawning in 20 seconds, this is going to decide the game.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, Gwen's pushing that bot lane. She does not have to join her team. She will end this game all on her lonesome, and if no one stops her...
And there's no TP on the side of EOD. They have to make a decision. Oh, this is such good macro here coming from Scuttle Defender. And he's able to take out the turret here. He might also just take out the Aatrox if he's not too careful. Scuttle Defender chasing under the tower, but he does not care. He is Gwen, and they will take out the Aatrox. That means the Baron will likely go over, but here comes Margarine. Pops that ultimate, is going to be very, very tough to kill. Pun intended is here as well, but Margarine will drop. Scuttle Defender is facing off against 2 of the enemy team and will have to fall as well, but that does not matter. It is Baron here. Then 3 of the enemy team picked up the side of D-Boss.
Yeah, Aatrox really misplayed that. I don't think he needs to engage on Gwen on that tower. That tower's gone. She's got it. Respect it. Don't let her end the game, and let your team contest that Baron. It looked really good for a 2v4 at the Baron from Margarine and pun intend. Now you've got a 2-man, 3-man coming up. Aatrox will be here in a second. So it's defendable, but it's going to be rough.
It's going to be enough. They have no wave clear on this team. That is the danger of Mundo ADC. Double B taking out the inhib, and the Mundo is dropping dangerously low, ganking on him, has to flash away, and Double B also dropping low, does the dash, and will take out the Aatrox, and now the Mundo will soon follow. Dreamless, it's not long for this world. Here come the rest of the boys, but is it going to be enough to save the Nexus? The Baron minions are here, and the Nexus is dropping, and that will be the series. Right over to D-Boss. Oh, that was an exciting way to end that game.
Well, I wanted to run up predictions. Obviously, didn't go like I said. 35-minute EOD win. Unfortunately, it didn't happen for them. It is going to be a 2-0 for D-Boss, but I mean EOD, they kind of shot themselves in the foot yet again, just blowing up their early game, getting really behind, and then having to claw out of a massive, multi-thousand goal deficit pre 20 minutes. That's a lot to ask, and it obviously didn't go well. 2 losses similarly in that fashion. You can hope that maybe things go well for them with other games, and they're able to maybe play for a tiebreaker in the playoffs. But otherwise, season's out of their hands now.
Yeah, and back against the wall for D-Boss. They had to get a win here in order to stay alive in the playoff run. I think they showed up ready to play. Like their carries came through. Scuttle Defender had a much better game 2 than he did in game 1. Solomon Khan was immaculate, topping the damage charts here for his team. Double B playing extremely well as well. I think just they came out, had a very clear game plan, picked some very simple drafts to execute, and they executed them perfectly. So I think this was very, very well played here for the side of D-Boss, and they deserved this win.
Yeah, I mean they did. They played well. They got. I mean, you can say EOD put themselves on a hole, but who dug it for them? It's D-Boss. They did a great job of making these early plays, finding the objectives early. I think they got all 8 of the first objectives across both 2 games. Like the first 4 in the first game and the first 4 or 5 in the second. So they were doing a great job controlling the map, having prio, getting kills, getting good wards down for TP flanks and just vision and hole. It's really hard to fault them. I mean, this is a strong team. I mean, now they're going to be going up to 2 and 3. They're looking for a tiebreaker play, and I think this team has the skills off what we just saw to make a run in the playoffs. They're strong, they're capable, and they can play multi-different comps. They can play in different lanes with who's carrying. They're a dangerous team.
And yeah, I think if they keep up this sort of performance, I think they'll honestly go far in playoffs. I mean, like, this was a flawless 2-0 sweep. I think they took advantage of the game 1 early on, and they stepped on the gas until the end of the series here. So I think this is very well played. One final thing I do want to ask you: if you had to give an MVP out to the enemy team, to the winning team, do you have someone who stood in your mind across these 2 games?
I gotta give it to Double B, the ADC. He had back-to-back, just amazing. Zaya and the Nyla both went crazy. I mean, he was playing weak side half the time and was not getting punished for it. He was getting tons of kills, tons of damage, well-positioned in fights. I mean, he just did so much work for his team, made it really easy to secure those dragons with the bot prio. So I think you gotta give it to him.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't disagree with you. I think Double B had a fantastic series, but I also want to give a bit of an honorable mention over to Eversick, who I think had some of the most impactful ults across both games, with the Recon charms coming through, charming multiple people in multiple fights. Some of those Rel ultimates combined with the Oriana ultimate were insane in this last game. So I will agree with you that WB had a fantastic series, but I also wanted to give a brief shout out to Eversick, who I think had a fantastic series as well. With that being said, though, that is all we have here for you guys today here at Risen Esports. Thank you, Sizzle. Welcome to the organization. We're happy to have you. So, for all of you all out there, stay safe. Tune in tomorrow, tune in next time. Sorry, for some more Risen action. Take it easy.